This hoopla is just really odd, and I think I'm gonna have to explain what happens before we go on my thoughts. So there was a tweet that was retweeted by the official account for Samurai Showdown about someone appreciating the attractive bits of some of the characters. The official account then remarked that everyone was effortlessly aroused tonight. However, this tweet has since gained quite a lot of backlash, which resulted in the official account apologizing to everyone and saying that the admin has been given a strict warning to be more considerate of people's feelings. Reminds me of that time where Arc System Works official account tried to do something similar, except they didn't apologize for anything and merely got a shadow ban from the notorious Bird app. I want to focus on this particular take from this person over here. This person over here stated that while the ratio of male to female players in the Samurai Showdown or Samsho community is incredibly favorable towards the males, nobody has ever made her uncomfortable or feel like she didn't belong. Except the official Samsho Twitter account, of course, because how dare they celebrated the beauty of the female body. Celebrating the beauty of the female body is an act of discrimination. Doing so would only discourage more women to get inside these hobbies, and that is not a very good look for a community who wanted more women to participate in it. I'm confused there. Why are you venting your frustration over a mania on horn meme? Forgive me for saying that way, blame YouTube. But seriously though, this tweet is clearly an expression of a very common meme amongst the gaming community or any sorts of community where you are allowed to pick on characters that you will play as your primary character, hence the word main. And the expression of that meme indicates that the person who mains that character was incredibly aroused by their physical traits and cannot control their arousal to those characters. Now, perhaps my memory hasn't served me right, but as far as I recall, they usually express all of these as a joke and not an actual statement. Now, please heed my opinion, my fair maiden. I am sure that you would feel uncomfortable if some random stranger is praising your most sensitive bits, but I think you might have missed the part where such appraisal is, well, a joke. And even if it's not a joke, it's not actually directed towards you. It was clearly directed towards the video game characters that the people were expressing their insatiable desires at, as in fictional characters. Are we not allowed to express such a non-serious phrase towards people who I'm quite certain is non-existent? Our jokes and memes are not allowed in our social media sphere anymore? Or maybe it's the behavior in general that should be banished. It doesn't matter if you express your insatiable desire towards fictional women or towards real-life women. Expressing your desire through this highly discriminatory meme is a creepy stalker attitude that should not be perpetuated so that more women are comfortable in the fandom. You should never foster an environment where women truly feel like they're being discriminated against. So allow me to clarify this entire argument. You are telling me that men in a specific fandom are not allowed to express their arousal towards women in general, whether it be fictional character or real life women, because you personally find it creepy and unpleasant. Okay, that's your opinion, but do not pretend that you are representing the opinion of other women. I think women are capable of understanding nuances or jokes or memes in general, and they're able to differentiate between jokingly expressing arousal towards fictional characters and creepily expressing arousal towards real-life people. Unfortunately, the land of social media is not a land where people can freely express jokes and memes. They have to undergo some serious filtration from the joke police who needed to make sure that every joke is about as inclusive to every gender as possible. And this brings me to another part of this discussion, bringing women into the gaming community. This is a topic that has always been discussed by the people who are interested in creating a more inclusive and progressive environment within the gaming community so that more women and other minorities are more accepted in the medium and not have to deal with such prejudiced nonsense as a meme expressing someone's arousal. To put it simply, they are not gamers. No, seriously, has anyone in the gaming community ever actually expressed genuine concern about the lack of women? Why is the lack of women in the gaming community an issue that we have to solve? There's a lack of men in the K-pop demographic, but that's never been an issue. Why is it an issue right now? Well, the answer to that depends on the person you're asking. Some might say that the lack of women in video games signifies that video games and their products are mostly catered to men because it's men who are primarily interested in video games. and women are primarily interested in other hobbies. Some might say that the lack of women signifies the dominance of men's structural power in this testosterone-riddled society, and that it's bad for the future of those poor women who pretend to have independence to score tough points in the World Wide Web. Whatever your thoughts on that, I want to ask this. Is saying a meme expressing arousal towards a fictional character one of the reasons why women aren't into video games, or specifically in this instance, the fighting game community? Is that attitude really the one pushing women off the community, or is it just some women who have insecurity issues that haven't been checked out since they were 10 years old? I've talked about this a while ago and why women are not in the fighting game community. It's because the fighting game community is not really a community that women gamers are interested in. They're not interested to play competitively against other players. I don't think even most men gamers are interested in playing competitively, even if most of the fighting game players are men. And there is nothing wrong with that. That is fine. I don't see the issue with that. It's their personal choice, and I don't think this is a problem that requires solving, assuming that you would consider this a problem in the first place. However, there are some people out there who makes this a problem. There are some people who says that this is a problem that the gaming community has to solve in one way or the other, and that spreading this meme or perpetuating this attitude would continue to push more and more women away from the fighting game community or gaming community in general. Really? A meme? People jokingly express that they are aroused towards fictional characters with the same reproductive organs as you. That's what's pushing women away from the fighting game community? You made women to sound like a bunch of insecure 10-year-olds. Maybe it's just me, but I do believe that most women who play video games are well-functioning adults. I do not believe that women, especially women gamers in general, would immediately quit the gaming community simply because some people on the internet jokingly make memes about their desire towards fictional characters. I do not believe that women gamers are so fragile and delicate that they need to have some form of a special treatment so that they can participate within the community that they're supposed to be in. What I am seeing here is you suggesting others to change their behavior within the gaming community so that it can specifically cater into you. Or women as you claim, but let's be real here. It's for you and yours alone. I find this hoopla so baffling because it's coming from people who want to get inside the community, but they have to change the community so that it specifically suits them rather than naturally assimilate within that community and its culture. Instead of doing as the Romans do, they just change Rome. Thankfully, a lot of women gamers don't have to change Rome. They are well-functioning adults who can naturally assimilate within the community because they're not as fragile and delicate as these dandelions, but apparently it's not enough. Now, this is definitely nothing new. People have tried to co-opt a lot of fandoms before, and they certainly did. These moral busybodies have co-opted many fandoms in the past to the point where people are quitting the fandom entirely. The reason why these people wanted these communities to bend their rules and culture is very simple, and it's always the same. It's because they want to have power. They want to have power over the cultural landscape, and gaming is a very significant cultural landscape. I heard it's very profitable too. So what they're doing, as I illustrated before, is to get inside many different types of fandoms, preferably the most popular ones, and proclaim that these fandoms have a problem. The fandom has a prejudice problem. It's filled with nothing but people from the overrepresented groups, and that they need to be more people who are from the underrepresented groups. Except they already are. There are gamers from all around the world. It's about as diverse as you can get. But these moral busybodies are specifically focusing on the West, which last time I checked has more white than a blank canvas factory. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, unless if you have a specific prejudice towards them, but even then, that makes it a you problem rather than a gamer problem. This is why, as of recent times, there's been a bit of a discussion regards to gatekeeping these people away from the fandoms. And to that I say, you're kind of late to the party. There's no use of gatekeeping these people away if they're already there. And even if they're not there yet, they're gonna try to find a way to enter. And they don't have to make a huge effort because, well, no one's really keeping the gate. You cannot control how popular video games can be. You cannot control the people who enter and exit the video game community. As long as they have a knowledge the fandom exists, they can find a way to infiltrate those communities and bend it to their will. Even the most niche of fandoms can still succumb into the will of these busybodies. So what do? Well, obviously if you're gonna do this by yourself, you're not gonna win. So you're gonna need people who are willing to help you or agree to your cause. So that's why you're gonna have to educate educate more people. Tell them about this issue that has been happening within the gaming community. Tell them that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. I'm doing my best to educate people about this and tell them that this sort of nonsense is not acceptable. You cannot simply jump into a certain fandom and ask them to bend their culture to your liking just because you didn't get the joke, or just because you paint women as these insecure, fragile, and delicate flowers that should never be stepped on when there's grass everywhere that people step on every day. At the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with people appreciating other people's most attractive physical traits, especially if it's a fictional character. There's nothing wrong with expressing your appreciation towards your most frequently used character through the medium of video games. This occurs pretty much every nanosecond in social media to everyone, regardless of gender, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, people appreciating a fictional character with the same gender as you doesn't mean that they're appreciating you specifically as your gender. People jokingly stating that they are aroused by a certain fictional character doesn't make them a creepy stalker. And one more thing, the women who actually play video games are a lot stronger than a lot of these moral guardians make them out to be. They're not some fragile, delicate flowers that need to have every will catered to specifically because of their gender. They are also people who have strong will and understand the concept of jokes and nuances to a conversation. They can also tell the difference between what is a meme and what is being genuinely creepy. In other words, they are stronger, smarter, and better than what you make it out to be. I have more faith in them than you do. You have faith to women in the same way that Dolores Umbridge have faith to the Hogwarts student. Oh sorry, I thought we're still in 2016.